Hello and welcome to another pick a card reading. With the holiday season approaching and all the Christmas music flooding our ears, I decided that this reading should be a little holiday inspired. So we're going to be looking at your gifts, what gifts you have. Now, this isn't gifts in terms of what you're receiving for like whatever celebration, whatever holiday you're celebrating this month. I'm not that psychic, but we are going to be looking at the gifts that you already have, your skills, what you can offer, you know? Today's reading is going to be a little bit different in terms of formatting. It's been a while since you guys have seen my face during one of these readings, so my gift to you, my face. Okay, now let's get into the reading. Are you gonna be helping me? Are you gonna be helping me? As per usual, we have the 3 different card piles with the 3 different crystals on top. So just take a moment, feel free to pause at any point. I'm gonna go through the different crystals. We have carnelian on pile 1. We have a seer's stone on pile 2. And we have a malachite on pile 3. So again, just take your time, really listen to your intuition, and whatever crystal or card pile you feel drawn to, you can find the timestamp for your reading in the description box below. Feel free to pause if you need more time. Hello, my group ones. If you picked pile 1 or were drawn to the carnelian, then this is your reading about what your gifts are. We're actually not going to be starting with this oracle deck, so I'm going to set it aside. We will get into it later. We're going to be starting with the keyword cards that I have here. So this will give us sort of a general idea of some of the key traits that we're going to be looking at for you. I think this reading is going to be a bit of a short one. So we've got spirit quartz with patience. So you might be recognized for your patience, or just know within yourself that you're a really patient person when it comes to whatever you're working on or dealing with other people, or just, you know, waiting in general. You might just be a really like calm person. Next we have smoky quartz, which is a sign of security. So this might be in terms of yourself, you might be a fairly secure person when it comes to, you know, who you are, your appearance, or you might be generally financially secure, or just everything seems in order. And then we have hematite with concentration. So people might see you as someone who can really like focus in on a target and move towards it. Yeah. This might be something that people see in you and aspire to. Yeah, you're simultaneously like secure, hardworking, concentrated, and patient. So this is kind of a deadly combo for getting stuff done. So kudos to you. I want us to dive into the tarot. So we've got Justice in reverse next to your patience card, which is really interesting because I think this means that you're really patient when it comes to issues of accountability or dishonesty. Like you give people the time to explain themselves, or you don't mind waiting until things kind of like unfold on their own, which is kind of scary, but hey, yeah, that works. We also have the Ace of Swords next to security. So this is in relation to your ideas. So your ideas about self or things that you want to take on. You have a very clear, stable view of the things you want in life, so it makes it really easy to go and get them. With concentration, and the first card that came out is the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is an indication of like taking on extra responsibility. So I think when you take on many things at once, like you're the kind of person who can take on so much, so many different things, and have like an insane skill set for all of those things, but people are like, how do you do it all? You know, like there's nothing you can't do, and I think you're aware of that. And like, not to say that it all comes easily, like there is hard work, but you're willing to put your time into things, and you're probably really good at time management too, I would say. So, and I mean, with your sort of secure, stable base, with your own ideas and just like that mental clarity, there's no way that, you know, you don't get to the successful completion of whatever you've been working on. Now, next to each row, we're gonna dive into this a little more. So going back to patience, while you're really patient in terms of when people are being dishonest with you or whatever, you know, you have the patience to sit it out and sort of let them tell you things in their own time. You also are recognized as someone who perhaps gives second chances to a lot of people, which is really nice, because I think, like, you know, it can go 50-50 on second chances, and there's that whole saying of like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But honestly, like, no. you're the kind of person who's like, no, if they fool me twice, shame on them, because like, I continue to be myself, I continue to have the patience, I continue to like create space for this person to like feel maybe even secure, you know, because you do have the security card, like other people might feel secure around you, but I think you definitely give people the opportunity, but on the flip side, I think you also know when it's time to walk away. So yeah, you're patient, but you also sort of know your own boundaries. So that's really fantastic. What a gift. I feel like there are not as many people as you would think who have that ability. So we also have the Five of Swords next to the Ace of Swords with security. So I think you are probably pretty secure when it comes to any issues of conflict or competition. Like, you probably aren't even someone who shows a lot of stress when it comes to things being a little bit tense, and people are like, oh my gosh, like I would be sweating under the circumstances, but you're just like, you're cool as a cucumber, you're a cool cat. So dang, yeah. You have no issue being in disagreements and stuff, and I think the patience also helps out with that, you know, like you're patient and give people the time to express themselves. So you might be able to diffuse tension as well and create like a safe, grounded space, because sometimes like conflicts and stuff can get a little bit people lose track of things, other things come out, but you're just like very focused on what's at hand. And I think that also leans into the concentration card, and the King of Cups, which is the other card that came out for this row. And the King of Cups is that like emotionally balanced, very diplomatic kind of character. So I think that really lends well to the conflict card that we saw earlier, and where you're secure and you're concentrated, you stay on task. You're like, if there's an issue, we're gonna solve that issue. And yeah, you kind of like keep things under control, which I think is such a skill. such a gift. So, and that's something that you can offer other people too, like a mediator kind of person. So next we're going to be looking at the Astrological Oracle cards. So we're getting into this. We've got Neptunus and Aries. So right off the bat, Neptunus is like this deep, like think of the deep sea, you know, like there's so many things that are left unexplored, but you are willing to dive in there. And the other card that came out, Aries, is very much like that leader, that like very aware of themselves and like their skills, kind of a go-getter and stuff. So I think with this combination, you lead people by example to think more deeply on things in their life. And I think you are also, you're able to push your awareness past just your own needs. You see everybody's needs and how you can sort of offer help, or at least encourage them to explore deeper on those needs. And I think that also is kind of what comes through with the patience card, and that dishonesty and, you know, giving people another chance, is because you can see where they're coming from a lot of the time and like what their needs are, even if they don't know their own needs. So yeah, that's a gift. We're going to be looking at a couple more oracle cards. We've got Lemuria, Creating Heaven on Earth. So I think for people that you're close with, you probably do create this sense of peace, understanding, you know, you make space for those people, and they probably feel like they step out of their own reality for a while when they're hanging out with you. So you're able to create this safe place, I guess, which is really, really wonderful for those in your life. And then we have Answer the Call. What is your soul being called to do? So I think with all of your skills and these gifts that we've covered so far, I feel like you are still tapping into your full potential here, because there's something that you probably intuitively know. Just another thing to take on, I guess. But this might be a call to use your gifts for something. You might be really good, like I said, at mediating, so bringing that out. But you're a really good person to have around when those kind of conversations pop up. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I will see you next time. Bye! Hello, my Pile 2s. If you picked the Seer Stone, then this is your reading. So we're actually not going to be using the Astrological Tarot. I keep doing that. Astrological Oracle. Instead, we're going to be starting with keywords. So for you, we have Labradorite, which represents imagination. Then we have Black Tourmaline, which represents protection. And finally, we have concentration with Hematite. And this card actually popped up in Pile 1, so there might be some overlap or some messages for you in there if you were drawn to it. If not, that's totally. And it's usually rooted in like some heavy or sad feelings. But I feel like this does go hand in hand with the feeling of the artist that I mentioned earlier, because I think you have a really, really unique way of capturing emotions that, you know, people feel them, but you put them into words in such a different way that they're like, oh my gosh, like, I've never felt so deeply understood, you know, like, and because of that, there's sort of this lean into that protective feeling. Like, people might escape into your art, into your writing, or just into conversation with you because they're like, oh my gosh, like, the way that this person thinks is so different. It sets everything into new perspectives for me. So I think you kind of create a safe way for people to escape what they're feeling. And I think your imagination allows you to do that for yourself too. Anytime you kind of slip into these feelings of disappointment or whatever, there's something that you can use from that. You can put your concentration into it and shape it into something artistic, I think. Something creative, something where the energy is going towards something that'll benefit you later, you know, or other people. So next to protection, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So I think this idea of protection is within your routines for yourself. Like, you know exactly what you need to do in a day to make yourself feel like it's been a good day. So not only are you creating like a safe space for other people, there's also like, it's reliability. That's what I feel here, is like, people know that you are going to get stuff done. You're gonna be there. You're gonna create that safe space. Like, people know what to expect from you, and that's really, really good, because like, there are a lot of people who need that. People who need that friend, that relative who's going to be there constantly. And then you have, with concentration, the Two of Pentacles. A lot of Pentacles coming out here, actually. Pentacles and Cups so far. So the Two of Pentacles is this idea of balancing a lot of things. And I can kind of see this because, like, having quite the imagination, there's probably a lot of things that you want to take on. So concentrating and coming up with a schedule, even time management, like sort of that routine productivity that we saw earlier. But I think you're also incredibly adaptable. Like, even though you have your routines, you have this ability to move fluidly within them, and manage to get everything done. And I think people are like, what? How? This is crazy. You're doing so much. And like, you just, like, I think you surprise a lot of people with the amount of things you take on, and then the attention to detail that you probably put into every aspect of your work. So jumping back up to the imagination card, we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So this is, typically it's the idea of long-term vision, or not long-term, short-term vision being like your central perspective. And then sort of the limits of the success or reward when you can be thinking so much wider. And this is so interesting with the imagination card, because like, imagination is expansive, you know? So I think the gift here is probably that because you're so imaginative, when other people are around you, just by action, I think, you encourage them to think farther than what they have seen. Maybe it sort of goes hand in hand with that idea of escapism or withdrawal. People are like very focused on their little like tunnel vision or a bubble kind of thing, because they're like, okay, I just have to get this far, and they're not picturing past the walls of that. So I think with your imagination in conversation or however you create, you push the boundaries of that for other people and allow them to see what could they succeed at outside of what they already know. So I think that's really incredible, and you've probably already helped a lot of people, whether they say that or not, like whether they tell you or not. Like I have a strong feeling that you've probably already impacted a lot of people to see beyond what they knew was available to themselves. So moving down, we've got cat hair all over my face. We've got protection with the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is, again, these heavy feelings. Disappointment comes out again, regret, and just like negative thoughts, sort of cyclical thoughts and stuff. So I think you maybe have these thoughts, you know, you might have moments of pessimism, or just like feeling really low, feeling like you haven't completed something up to your potential, but then the protection of yourself comes in, and you know when to cut that self-talk off. And I think people also might come to you when they're in that state of mind, which can suck. But I think, again, with your imagination and like how you sort of frame things in your own mind, people aren't coming to like dump that on you. They're coming because they know that you'll create this sense of safety. I'm seeing so many ties to pile one. So again, if you felt drawn to pile one, definitely check it out too. But yeah, this protection for them, like you might, if they're feeling like disappointed in something or they feel like a failure, you'll get in there and be like, I'll tell you what, you are anything but. Okay, so moving down to the concentration row, we've got the Six of Cups. So revisiting past memories and stuff, like things within your childhood, joy, that kind of thing. So I think you put a lot of love and maybe even experience into what you do, whatever you concentrate on. I think you're probably fueled by things that things that are really rooted in joy from your childhood. You probably have or are working on a really good connection with your inner child, which is so beautiful, and I think people do recognize that about you. So even though you have like these skills and routine and like this ability to concentrate, you still have like this like eternal child energy that comes through, and I think that really shines in your art, the imagination and stuff. You know, you're able to create things that your inner child is like, oh my gosh, what? And I think when you offer that to others, you sort of share this joy, allow this innocence to become a part of other people's lives when they need it, which is just so beautiful. Oh my god. Moving on to the Astrological Oracle cards, you got Venus and Libra, which, what a friggin' perfect pair for this pile. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like I was saying, I think a lot of people are like drawn to you when they're kind of in a low point, because you have this like eternal child energy. And I don't mean that as like a negative. Honestly, I think it's really good. You are able to see the beauty of everything, the wonder of everything. So with Venus in Libra, you are very evidently a lover of beauty in the world, the physical world and your own imagination. But you also come across to other people as like a living work of art. You are so creative and it shows through. Like, there's just beauty to your energy, which is really a gift for everybody else. So, just saying. So the other oracle cards that I have for you today are Warrior Woman. You don't necessarily have to be a woman for this to resonate, but it just asks, have you answered your deepest calling? So I think, you know, really harnessing that energy, being the work of art, lover of beauty. I mean, the answer to this might already be yes, but like always finding new ways to appreciate beauty, I think is something that you will continue to do. The other card is Leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. So I think this also feeds into that like eternal child vibe, because you definitely take chances. You put yourself into things, in a way that other people are like really nervous to do, but you make it work. And I think that's because you are creative. So even if there is something that didn't work out quite as planned, you don't abandon it, you adapt. So the like Two of Pentacles adaptability kind of feeling comes through again. So I think people really admire that within you. That is what I'm seeing for your reading. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that I will get to read for you soon. Bye! Hi, pile 3. If you picked the Malachite, forgot the name, but this is your reading. So we're gonna set the oracle cards aside and actually get some keyword cards to start and just get a general idea of what we're working with for this pile. Alrighty, so we've got Moldavite with open-mindedness. We've got Blue Calcite with peace. And we'll get one more. Obsidian with self-reflection. So we'll go through just so you can see. 2 and 3. Perfect. So this is a fantastic start to this reading. You sound like a fantastic person, honestly. Like, being open-minded, people probably find that you're really peaceful. They like to be around you, even after a long day. You know, they come to you and they're like, I can breathe. And I think you're also really good and self-aware. I think this is a huge strength, a huge gift, to be able to not only be open-minded to others, but also be incredibly aware of yourself, how you work, your boundaries, your needs, that kind of thing. So we're gonna get into the tarot. And I've said this for all of the rows, I'm working down rather than across, just the way that I pulled the cards. So we're gonna keep with it. So first we have open-mindedness with the High Priestess. So this open-mindedness, oh my goodness, I cannot speak, is really tied to your knowledge of self, I think. Your knowledge that you don't know everything. yeah, you're always open to receiving more information about things. You want to learn. I think you have a strong drive in terms of your intuition. You might even sort of practice things differently in terms of like your own spirituality. So you're like very open to variancy when it comes to people's beliefs and ideas. So I think that's a really, really great strength because you're so open to taking in more information and sort of like vetting it for what you like, what applies to you, especially with the self-reflection card. But like you don't have any like you don't hold your ideas, your thoughts above other people. You're very open. In the next row we have peace with the 7 of Wands, and I think you approach everything within life really peacefully. Like maybe if there's challenges or sort of something that you have to overcome, you do it so peacefully with such ease. People are like astounded. This is really great. Honestly, like I'm kind of feeling peaceful just looking at these cards, because any tension and stuff, your presence for other people just kind of relieves it. And I think people see you just moving through without, it's almost like you're not even aware of the other, like, of the competition, if there is any, you know, like it's not that you're not aware of it, but you just pay no mind to it. You're like, okay, this will pass, you know? In the next row, we have self-reflections, a self-reflection with the 2 of Pentacles. So I think you are very aware of your skills, your gifts already. I'm just probably telling you what you already know. But I think you spend a lot of time looking at the things that you have been through, your experience, the things that you've integrated from being open-minded, you know, the conversations, even the challenges and stuff. Like you've taken everything you've been through, deconstructed it, and taken what you need in order to like optimize your abilities, your priorities, just, and you can take stuff on, and all of a sudden tasks become so much easier because you have taken the time to like I said, break stuff down. So that's a really powerful skill, and I think a lot of people probably envy you for it. Especially to do it with such ease. People are probably like, ah, are you kidding? So jumping back up, we have the 6 of Cups with open-mindedness. So the 6 of Cups is all about your past. So you might sort of be delving into a relationship with your inner child, but I think your open-mindedness is tied to this card in terms of looking at things of your past, especially with self-reflection. You know, you're going back into things that you did or who you were in different versions and stuff, and you can recognize your own innocence for things that maybe didn't work out as planned, and you're like, okay, well, you know, I'll give them credit because they didn't know this and this and this, which I do now. You know, I think you're open-minded to sort of applying what you now know to your past in order to help better understand your present self, if that makes sense. Again, that self-reflection card kind of leans into this a lot, but yeah, you're really open-minded about you know, the different perspectives of your own memories over the course of time, and how like you now in the same situation of you 6 years ago, like you would have acted differently, you know, and that shows growth. And I think you recognize that, and there is a peace that comes from that, like just like a deep breath out kind of thing. So moving down to the peace row, we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So I think you have a really good understanding of your self-worth, and you probably, because you're so at peace, you can take on a lot of things. And we also saw this with the self-reflection card, and the Two of Pentacles. You manage things really well. You manage your time incredibly well. So I think you can get a lot of work done. And I think you put a lot of time and attention into your work, maybe even more than you need. But yeah, I think you gain a lot of peace from getting stuff done in a way of like doing it quick and efficiently. Not to brag, but that kind of sounds like Taurus energy to me, or just any earth sign energy really. Yeah, this feels like earth sign energy. For self-reflection, the final card here is the Ten of Cups in reverse. So I think one of your strengths, one of your gifts here is recognizing the things that maybe you did wrong and growing from them, especially when there's been a disconnect, or you recognize that your relationships are struggling. You're aware of other people. You're aware of where, you know, the values and stuff don't align. And I think that also comes from your open-mindedness, and your ability, your gift here is to be able to reflect on that, look at the core parts of yourself and be like, okay, what is me and what is a habit that I've picked up? What can I change to create a good balance within this relationship? And you're still staying true to yourself, I think, because you have a really good idea of who you are and your self-worth. Or you're just at peace in terms of certain things about yourself. But if you recognize that there is a struggling relationship, you aren't going to just be like, oh, well, that's it. You're going to look at things and really like buckle down and understand like what you might be doing to contribute to the struggle of this relationship. And then you're going to do what you need to correct it, or, you know, salvage whatever there is by maybe ending it, or just like finding a different way to structure the relationship, something like that. Like you put in the time to break that down. So moving on, we have the Oracle cards, Mars and Virgo. So I think you're incredibly passionate and strategic when it comes to everything, honestly. And I think sort of going along with what we saw in the bulk of this pile, you are incredibly intelligent and self-aware, just aware in general. And even though you have this like big brain, you're still open-minded. You don't use your intelligence to belittle. You create peace, you know, instead. So I think that's really, really a gift that sometimes is hard to master for some people. So And then for this pile, we have mirror what is triggering you. So this may be one of your questions for yourself in terms of like your self-reflection or the struggling relationships we saw with the Ten of Cups. Or this might be an ability to zero in and see what's triggering other people. Not necessarily, you know, doing anything about it, because you don't use your intelligence to wound others, but just being aware and being like, oh, I can see that because I did this, it triggered this reaction, blah, 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 blah. And then sort of understanding, being open to how their action might be a reaction, and then you can have a conversation about that. But yeah, I think that's really a skill. And then we have Mintakan, longing for home, belonging. So I think one thing that you do is create a sense of belonging for people. And you probably do that for yourself as well. Like, your intent with self-reflection is to understand where you belong in the world at different points in your life. And I think because of that, people definitely like acknowledge your skill, maybe you're wise beyond your years, but I think you also have utilized that to create a sense of belonging for people in your life, and people feel welcome to be in your space, you know, which I think is really quite lovely. The last card that I have for you is Don't Dim to Fit In. I really don't think that you do. I think you're very aware, especially with all the self-reflection, of the parts of yourself that you like, the parts of yourself that you shine and, you know, show others. You might serve as an example for other people to do the same. You never know who you're inspiring. So I'm gonna wrap up there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today, and I hope this brings you a little bit of insight. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.